Hello, good evening. Thank you for your nice introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Neelakandan sir and the whole management for inviting me for this particular talk. And about the talk, I'm going to present a talk on how to write a successful research proposal for the different agencies for getting it funded. And I will also tell you like the different avenues for funding, especially in our country. So as we all know that we are all academicians and we are well versed in teaching, and this is a time by which we are all focused on research. Many of us are doing PhD and many of us are trying to go for PhD, and those PhDs are going for a postdoc degree. And whenever we apply for Tier 1 institute, they were asking like, how many postdocs do you have? Before, when we were applying for NIT or IIT, they were asking like, do you have any postdoctoral degree? But nowadays they're asking like, how many postdoctoral degrees you have and how many countries that you have visited. So for all these, they're indicating the importance of research in academics. And especially we're all going for MBA kind of thing. They are looking for the research growth of your institute, how many people are doing active, how many academicians are active researchers, and whether we are devoting our time for doing some real research, etc., etc. So this particular presentation is inevitably my personal view of how can you write some proposals, how can get it funded, where are the agencies where we can approach for. Why this topic? So this topic just give you an insight on writing successful research proposals, approaching the right agency, preparing the right problem formulation, etc. Some basics on these research grants. Normally, every research grant is called as some lump sum of amount, which are given to some faculty or some person who are working in a research institution for executing certain project. And these projects will be for certain duration, like 2 to 3 years. And every agency has some area of interest, some thematic areas on which they are providing fund. And we should know that these grants, once issued, you have to fully utilize it, and they never ask for whether you are having some amount, balance of amount with you to pay that amount back to the institution. So this, the grants once issued, you have to utilize that grant according to your project. Otherwise, it will give an impression that like you are not an active researcher, you don't have any good, you don't know how to execute those kind of projects. You don't have any vision at all. So, the decisions are made on the applicant's ability. So first of all, when you are applying for these kinds of funds, the investigator or the principal investigator should have some evidence of doing these kind of things. Like you should have some publications, you should have some prior experience on handling these kind of projects. So these people are looking at people who are having some immense experience on these kind of things, as well as sufficient publications on some peer-reviewed journals. So these are the two main criteria of accepting any kind of proposal. So biodata is very important. You have to showcase your biodata with immense number of projects as well as what you call as publications. The state of play. So whenever we submit a proposal to these kind of agencies, we know that there are some reviewers sitting over there to evaluate your proposal. Normally, we think that all these reviewers are expert members of your field. And it's a lottery that whenever we submit a proposal, sometimes 1 or 2 members will be expert members of your interest, expert members working in your area of interest, and majority of other members will be sometimes like program committee members, which don't have any prior understanding about what you are saying on this proposal. So the thing is, in the initial first page itself, you should write some executive summary showcasing everything about the project. Should not gamble with the technical words because they don't understand. And sometimes if you got a chance to meet any technical expert in your area, at least 1 or 2 minutes will be left there for evaluating a proposal, because they are seeing tens or hundreds of proposals every day. So they don't have enough time to evaluate each and every page, so that you should provide the proposal, you should write the abstract of the proposal in the initial page itself, which we call as executive summary of the project. Okay? So according to DST and those kind of agencies, we came to understand that according to their review process, they found that many research proposals are weak, and most weak proposals have readily fixable flaws. These are the comments which is given by several DST reviewing committee members. And this is about the review panel. Your proposal will be read carefully by sometimes 1 or 2 experts and superficially by some non-experts. So you have to convince the non-expert first before the experts, so that each and every proposal should be right in a layman point of view, so that everyone could understand. So there are 2 golden rules of writing the proposal. The first golden rule is that you should give your proposal initially to your colleagues, to some non-expert members of like your spouse itself you can give, or your colleagues, whatever it may be. They don't have any direct relationship with the project. They may be some working in a different area of research, so that they can immediately say you that I couldn't understand anything from you, from this proposal. Okay, so you have to rewrite your proposal many times in such a way that these members can give some impression. These members will value your proposal first. Then go for these contacting the agency, submitting proposal to different schemes, etc. First you have to speak with your colleagues, get some good comments from them, then go for a proposal submission. That's the first golden rule that we have to follow for any kind of agency, not only DST, it can be our KSCST, so because we are all submitting several proposals as student project scheme proposals. But most in KSC, I think if we have some social relevance in your project, they will immediately will give you a grant. But this is not the case for other agencies. Okay, so first you give a proposal to your immediate member, get evaluated by him or her, and collect the comments and rewrite it until they say that I have got something from your proposal. Okay? And the second golden rule is that always try to impress everyone with the first page. Again, repeating, the technical proposal side, the executive summary, the abstract. Normally the abstract of the proposal, we will start with the introduction of the idea, which will cover about some 10 to 15% of the entire content. The second part, which will give you about the current status of the research, which could be a national level status or it could be an international level status. Then go with the shortcomings and just prove it. How can you overcome those shortcomings with your methodology, with your style of doing these kind of projects. Okay, so first page should convey these details. First the abstract, the introduction part, then the existing technologies, overcoming the existing problems, then your proposal, the methodologies, etc. So these are the 2 golden rules for writing any proposal, not going for the elaborate methodology and all. First you write the 1-page write-up, which will cover entire details of proposal. Do not use what you call the particular technical words. You may be knowing the technical words of your area, but maximum you please convey it in a layman point of view. Build on your strength. Normally when a person like me, we just completed the PhD, and immediately when we join some colleges, people will be asking, did you apply for any kind of fund? they think that we have completed some Nobel Prize kind of thing when doing a PhD, and we all know that we are not at all doing any kind of that high level of research in a PhD level. Sometimes a single person will be doing some 3 to 4 years of research in a particular area, and finally we publish some papers on that area, and during the examination, PhD evaluation, the reviewer and the external panel member will be asking you some questions on that area where we have spent some 3 to 4 years, and for that we are giving some answers. It's not like our answers are all correct, but that the non-correct part will be given to the the researchers who are currently doing their work. Okay, that the thread will go on. That's the way of doing a PhD, according to my view. But and so normally these kind of PhD people will directly go for some funding agency, submitting some work based on their research part, extending some parts of their research, not doing any social relevant or the current context kind of thing, but just repeating what they have did in the PhD time. It's just extension of their PhD. So those kind of proposals will never cross any level of reviewing. Normally, when we are going for a Department of Science and Technology schemes, they have some 5 to 6 levels of review process. So initially they will look into the background of the researcher, then go for some screening level test, then go for the objective part test, especially whether the current context is of relevance, whether we have to spend some stipulous time on that proposal for reviewing, etc. So many things they will look at, but ultimately in order to cross these kind of levels, you have to think in the way that the current research is going on. You should avoid your area of research that you have did in 4 to 5 years ago, because we will be starting a research in 2011 or 12 and completing a research in 15. The charm of the research will already gone, because I did my PhD in cryptographic area in cloud computing. We are saying about sky computing, machine learning, artificial intelligence, etc. Again, I am filling the cup with the old tea. It will not serve the purpose. So you have to go with new style, the current context of research. Then only the people will look at the proposal and they just think whether this proposal is good for giving some funds and all. Okay. So these are the things that you want to look at before writing a proposal or submitting the proposal to these kind of agencies. Build on your strengths. And formulating a research question, I think this part will help the PhD guys also, not only for funding agencies. Like normally a research interest will happen when we read some papers first. Because normally we ask the students to go read on papers, but we never read those kind of papers. We really have some excuses like academic background, administrative work, filing of NBA process. We don't have enough time for these kind of readings and all. So we will ask our students to go some IEEE, IEEE papers or Springer papers and all. And these people will straightly go to that IEEE transaction chapter, read those kind of things, and they will again come with some printouts and ask us, sir, I didn't understand this kind of thing. What is this and all. Because the transaction papers, even the researchers won't understand, because the transaction papers are the work which has been done by several experts for 5 to 6 years. So we have to start with papers like conference magazines. According to electronics and communication is concerned, we have some magazines known as ComSoc, Communication Society magazines, where we have something called as best readings of 2018, best readings of 2017, etc. Several areas are there like cloud computing, machine learning, artificial intelligence, wireless sensor networks. A variety of repositories are there. You can just look into where you are going to do your research. Just click on it and read some papers first. And these papers are very easy to read. Like just reading your paper, just reading a Hindu newspaper science section. Every Thursday you can read some science section part on a Hindu newspaper. In that way you can read these kind of conference, society magazine papers. Very simple language, not technical matter, in depth. So by just reading a Reader's Digest book, you can read and understand the concepts. So generally, after reading 1 or 2 papers, the interest in you will generate to which area that you want to explore, what is the type of proposal that you want to build, etc., etc. Those kind of things will emerge in you. So first read those kind of conference magazine papers and slowly try to publish some papers in survey kind of journals. What you call the IEEE communication survey tutorials are there. So you can submit some proposals to there, and immediately you will be receiving a rejection letter after 1 week. Sure, because in IEEE they will go for reviewing about 1.5 years maximum, 1 to 1.5 years. So sometimes if we are submitting our first paper to IEEE kind of thing, immediately you will be they will be rejecting your paper, but you will be getting some good comments from it. So do not submit your papers to any kind of XYZ journals. Try to submit your papers to Springer, what you call the impact factor more than 1.5 and acceptance rate less than 11%. You will be getting excellent comments from reviewers, so you can build on that comments and make some awesome paper. And that paper can be slowly converted into a funding kind of thing. So your research will be funded if you're doing a PhD. So ultimately you can show in your profile that you are doing a funded research and ultimately leading to a PhD degree. But this kind of thing I learned at the end of my PhD. But if you are starting your PhD degree, try to do these kind of things. I can see a lot of women faculties here. You have different schemes in DST like WOSA, WOSB, Kiran scheme, etc. Lot of schemes are there. WOSA, women schemes, women empowerment schemes like WOSA, WOSB, WOSC, etc., etc. So these kind of schemes will give you some 45 to 50,000 of what you call the fellowship per month. If you go for a full-time PhD program. Okay, it need not be an IIT or an NIT, any kind of institute where they can avail a fund from DST. That's it. It need not be an IIT institution or an NIT institute. It could be QSAT. It could be any other self-financing, deemed universities, like VIT or Amrita, whatever it may be. But the thing is, they should have some tie-up with these kind of agencies so that they can avail fund from them. That's it. So the first question is that, so you go for literature searches in this kind of magazines, then again discussion with colleagues will help you a lot, then policy makers and community discussion, then ask yourself a series of questions. Like, is this idea or the study that you are going to propose is stimulating one or important enough to me so that you are spending considerable amount of your time in that area. So that is the idea is worthy one. First you want to judge that. Then, does this idea have some long-term potential? I told you that you will be spending some 3 to 4 years on that. So whether the idea will last for next 4 years. So you have to think on that perspective. Then what is the focus of my department? Since we are all working as a self-financing institution, you have to cope up with the intentions of the department, intention of your institution, etc. So you have to look into the focus of your department, because when we are having some fund availed from some agency, you will be having less workload. That's the case. If you're having some 16 to 17 hours per week, normally when you are having some research fund, they will cut down that the normal workload to 9 or 10 hours. So you have to answer your authority. So for that, you have to look into the focus of your department, you have to look into the focus of the institution, profession, and ultimately whether this kind of proposal will enable your career growth. Okay. Then what are the important research questions in this field? Has this or a similar study has done before? That's an important question, because when we are writing some proposals, we have 2 to 3 pages of related works available. Sometimes in PhD thesis, if you have some 100 to 120 pages of a PhD thesis, majority of the thesis will be telling about the existing work. They will be giving lesser importance on the methodology part that you are working on. So, if so, is there any room for improvement? So the existing working is fine, but you have to convince the authority that there are immense areas on which that you can work on. These are many of the things are existing, but still some shortcomings are there. I could work on it, and ultimately these kind of things can benefit from it. You have to clearly convince these kind of authority people. The second part, the non-expert people, not the expert one. Which funding agencies would be interested in funding this study? We know that in India we have a number of research agencies available, starting with Department of Science and Technology, Science Engineering Research Board, Atomic Energy, Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Biotechnology, the Council for Scientific Industrial Research, ISRO, n number of agencies are available. They are having different motives, they have different schemes available. But normally when the one who is working in engineering college normally attracts to DST, because DST has a number of schemes available, number of thematic areas available, not only to particular focused areas, but a number of areas are available. And the eligibility condition is also different. Sometimes for some kind of funding, MTech is the highest eligibility. And sometimes for the funding schemes, PhD is a minimum eligibility. So a variety of eligibility is available, a variety of schemes are available in Department of Science and Technology. So whenever you log into your computer, first make a bookmark of that site, because every day a new announcement is coming. And now itself, Imprint 2 call is there, Imprint 2. Anyone who is elder than 18, Indian citizen can submit the proposal. You can avail fund up to 2 crores. Fund up to 2 crores. And DST also, there are several schemes for PhD, the just completed PhD candidates, like 1 year or 2 year duration. Like but now, if you are submitting a proposal, you should complete your PhD in 2018 or 17, like that. So for them, there is something called as Early Career Research Award, ECRA. You will be getting like minimum of some 25 lakhs to maximum of 2 crores again. And other scheme is there for experienced professors, some scheme known as EMR, that is extramural research. These are all individual centric. Whenever you go from one institution to other, you can carry over your research, like that. Okay? I will focus on that part at the end of the slide. Which funding agencies would be interested in funding this study? Most importantly, will my study have a significant impact on the field? These kind of questions you have to ask by yourself before submitting any kind of research, real academic research. And there is something known as aims and objectives. For every research, there will be some aim and there are some objectives. What is the actual difference? Aims are like some broad objectives. Broad objectives. It can be written in a paragraphic manner. It will give you, it will not have a specified kind of thing. You will be broadly telling these kind of things you will be achieving after completing this project. Okay, there is a known as abstract, the aims, and objectives should be like, every objective will be having some outcome. So it should be measurable, it should be highly focused and feasible, and give the time and money you are requesting in the grant, and be realistic. If you are building some kind of network, be realistic with the component prices, equipment price, etc., because they will look at those prices in the net itself. So you cannot, sometimes some people will say, you have to spend, ask some 20 lakhs for your proposal. But you will be having some proposal which can go up to 5 lakhs. And you will be putting some equipments additionally, like home computer, PC computer, personal computer with high configuration. But these people know, because we are all part of a self-financing institution. Does your institution don't have any computer? Whether you have to fund for that too, they will be asking you. So you have to give the equipment part, like the real equipments needed for your research, not like I need iPhone for that, I need tab for that. Sometimes they will be, some people will be asking like tab. Some kind of research will be asking tab, Samsung 35,000, 80,000 tab and 2 numbers. And sometimes they will be asking like Wi-Fi access points, 10 numbers. These kind of things, these people will not provide you grant. They are looking at real components with real make and model with a real price listing. And sometimes the people will be like, yeah, we are importing the equipment from Europe and something, and they will giving like $800 or $500 and probably this much is the amount, Indian currency, etc. And these equipments will be available in Indian market itself. But they are giving some high-end products like shimmer sensing products, which could be available from America only. So, converting your Indian currency to US or Europe. So these kind of things will not promote these kind of agencies. So you have to make some realistic model with a realistic budget details. So they will only look at the first executive summary part, the methodology part, and the budget. Okay. And the thing which we are repeating, abstract or concept paper. The abstract, the other name is executive summary part. The first page you have to write up about your proposal, the existing works, the shortcomings, improvements you can make, etc., etc. And sometimes there is something called as aspirational proposal. Like, I want to solve the problem of avoiding deadlocks, which is a common problem in computers, and raise conditions in concurrent and distributed programs. Give me the money. This is a kind of aspirational proposal. It is to identify an impressive mountain over there, but that is not enough. You must convince your reader that you stand some chance of climbing the mountain. So you have to provide some evidences, like in the previous days I have done something. I did this much of projects. I have done some preliminary work on the same area. So you have to convince the readers first. So you have to think in a reviewer point of view. Why should I give a grant to some person who don't have any experience, any project implementation experience, etc., etc. But the thing is, the one thing that you are making fault in our resume is that we didn't include any B.Tech projects, we didn't include any M.Tech projects. We say that this is part of academic work, it is not at all funded, so why should I write? So normally, every year, your resume, your cover letter has to be updated. Normally, when we look at the foreign professor's resume, they will be writing their position, name, etc. And at last, they will write updated on July 2017 or 19 or 18, like that. But we have the old resume, the same strength, the same hobbies, the same interest. Okay, you can have the same, only the date of birth, your ethnicity, your sex, etc., etc. The other things have to be changed year by year. Okay, actually I have also made this kind of faults, but I am trying to learn from it. Okay, you can look at one interesting website, MIT's Global Education Center. MIT's Global Education Center for updating any kind of resume. It could be a non-experienced engineer, a fresher, a middle engineer, or expert member, or researcher, and industrialist. Separate sample resume formats are available in this website. You can just Google it. I don't remember that exact web link, but you Google it. MIT Global Education Center. Okay, and also you can look at Stanford University websites. And Stanford University, one Malayali is there. He is hailing from Trivandrum, born and brought up in Trivandrum. His name is Vinod Vaikuntanathan. He is one of the top cryptologists in the world. Okay, you can just look it in the profile. Every month he is updating. He has several talks on it. He has several publications on it. He is involved in several projects, etc. So now his resume is up to 6 to 7 pages. Okay, so because whenever you are going for this kind of funding, these people will be along with you. So we will be sidelined. We don't have any that kind of a thing to showcase. So whenever you are involved in any kind of B.Tech project, try to be, 2 faculties can handle a single B.Tech project, and go for some KSAST student funding first, then go for some Institution of Engineers India funding that you can freely available. Because if you have a membership in your institution, at least 20 to 50,000 rupees, they will give you grant as a B.Tech project funding, etc., etc. Okay, so principal investigator can be one faculty, the other faculty can join him as a co-investigator. So 2 persons can have the same project. You can reach your resume by building these kind of things, B.Tech as well as M.Tech projects. And climbing the mountain, you must say that what is the idea that you are bringing the proposal. Explain modestly but firmly why you are ideally equipped. Again, showcasing your previous works, preliminary works on the same area or different area. But you have to showcase that you have some experience on these kind of building projects, involvement of, just convince them as an active researcher. Always build some Google profile pages also, because nowadays they are looking like the website is there, sites.google.com. You can freely build your website on them. Don't go for WordPress and Weebly type of website links. Go for sites.google.com. Make a website. Try to convert your resume to a website kind of thing. And give in your resume, give like, okay, www.rageshwarrior.com, like that. Because you can buy a domain from, this GoDaddy and all, some 175 rupees per year. And maximum of 300 rupees for 2 years, etc. So immediately you can divert your sites.google.com to your own named website. Okay? So your idea, give them a real meet, so that expert member could have some idea of what the idea is. You will be giving some publication list in your proposal. You have this much publication, but they may not have time to read those kind of excellent papers. So try to give the real beef in your proposal, so that they can get an idea about what you are going to do. Then offer objective evidence, like the results of the preliminary work that you have done. If there is any prototype, showcase it. If publication is there, okay. Then also, last year when I go for the said research funding KTU, people are coming with some hardware kits. We understood that that kind of kits has been a part of MTech project, but again, in order to convince the expert panel, people are coming with the real kits and saying that, okay, we have done, this is the actual proposal we need, this much of amount is needed for that, but we have started our work and this is a model. So in order to convince, I think people are doing several ways. So you have to convince them with prototypes, you could convince them with the results of preliminary work, publication, and ongoing applications. This much you have asked, or this much work we have done, whatever it may be. It could be like in a second stage or first stage, in a submitted stage also it's okay, but convince them that you're an active researcher. Many grant proposals are buzz. So we will be playing with words and words in a proposal, but they are only looking at the lack is there. Almost all technical content is lacking. We are showcasing everything. If the technical content is not available in for the new proposal, there is no use at all. So blowing your own trumpet, like this also works for you. Like we were the first to introduce this kind of thing. Like our 2016, some paper has proved very influential kind of thing. We are recognized as leaders in these kind of things, etc., etc. Will always give an extra edge to your proposal. Okay, so blowing your own trumpet. And I will work on a proposal. Here also, here is a well-formulated problem. Here is a promising idea, but everything, like an interviewer asks for a student, do you have any leadership skills? The student will be saying something, but they will be asking, tell some situation where you have shown your leadership. Like that, you have to show the evidence for each and every statement that you're writing on a research proposal. Like, here's a promising idea, what is the evidence? We are a great team, what is the evidence? And we will work on it, give us the money, all kind of things. So how would a reviewer know if your research had succeeded? For that, you have to provide evidences for each and every promising statement. Methodology and work plan, usually vastly overstressed in my view. Your idea, your aims, objectives, success criteria, describe that, and also fallback positions. And time plan is like, sometimes we draw some time bar diagram. Usually these kinds of funds are for 3 years duration. So for the first 6 months, what you are doing. So segregate your work into 3 months duration. For the 3 months, you will be setting up some lab. For the 3 months, you will be recruiting some MTech graduate or BTech graduate for helping your project as a JRF or SRF. Then again, the other 3 months, you will be going for some other kind of thing related with the project, etc. So you segregate the work up to 3 years. Okay, this is known as work plan, or we call it by the name time bar diagram. So the ideal proposal will be like this. The problem, the important problem, it's an important problem, and evidence, we have a promising idea, we are a world-class team. Here is what we hope to achieve, here is a plan. So always every proposal should be like, your enthusiasm should be rich in your proposal. That will always, give an extra edge, an extra point for that candidate. Your enthusiasm should be reflected in your proposal. Above all, convey your enthusiasm. I have this amazing idea and I am going to change the world. All I need is a little crumb of your money. And help each other. Always ask your colleagues to read your paper, revise, repeat, and repeat. So that fine-tuned proposal is going to some agency for evaluation. And make your LinkedIn profile effective. The ultimate thing that we can do nowadays. You just publish that I am going to work on certain project. Is there any researcher who are also interested to join me? You can just make a post on that. Many researchers will look into the hashtag research or hashtag funding. They will have the common interest. So you can, sometimes if you get a lottery, you could get some investigators from IITs or NITs or IISER. A lot more you can get. Because I have some more experience of my own, that's why. Actually, I put like I'm working on secure Internet of Things. I have some member working in Honda Research Institute. Immediately that person joined me and asking when we can start. Because those kind of people are very interested in doing that kind of research. And slowly it can guide it to some collaborative work, and institution will grow and your personal growth will be also there. So enrich your LinkedIn profile too. Okay, nowadays in your resume itself, the people are giving like a Google Scholar link, this much H indexes are there, IT indexes are there, this much citation is there, along with some LinkedIn profile. Proposal guidelines, there are certain, if you have submitted some acquis proposals of ASCT, you could come across these kind of things. For every proposal, there will be some time, page limit, some word limit, character limit will be there. If you are submitting an online application for abstract and all, they will be giving you 500 words or 500 characters length. After that, you cannot. So you have to convey the whole idea in 500 characters. So don't gamble with any kind of unnecessary things, just points what you're going to do. Budget limit, abstract format, reference format, and PI and co-PI eligibility. Co-investigator and co-principal investigator. Submission method, the file type. Normally in DSC and all, they will be asking for some PDF format or Word format, some 15 copies of the same format, etc., etc. So you have to go through the guidelines first before making any kind of proposal. Know the agency first. Always look into the past funding proposals, funded proposals. You can have an elaborate list of proposals from DST, the past accepted proposal list, so that you can get an idea about what behavior kind of proposal is going to accept. Okay, always go with the past. Read those kind of things. Also look at, they will not be giving you the exact, the candidate name, his address and all. You can just, select the name and Google it and see where that person is working. They will not give you the proper address and all. They just link, if I have got some fund, I will be giving Dr. Ragesh. That's it. But you can just look at the idea conveyed in that 2 lines of title with the papers published by that author in some Google Scholar or his personal web page or his academic website, etc., etc. It will take a long time. The overnight you cannot prepare any kind of proposal that you may know. Normally any kind of DST proposal you have to spend some 6 to 7 months at least for making a proposal. Abstract itself will go for some 2 months. Okay. So project team, you know about, I understand that 2 of your departments have already availed a DST fund, and may I know whether that person is sitting over here? That's it. So experienced persons are here. If there is any disagreements with my point of view, okay. These are the normal roles, like a principal investigator will be there, who is the accountable person for executing any kind of project, and co-investigator will be having a separate contribution. So whenever we go for a co-PI, PI kind of thing in a DST, separate objectives, separate budget has to be maintained by each investigator. So if you are having a 25 lakhs budget, a 10 lakhs can be for the first PI for this kind of implementation, and the latter half have to be borne by the second co-PI. So a separate objective should be there, a separate budget plan has to be there. And same idea in different proposals. You can always submit the same idea. But the thing is, you have to convince each authority that this much difference is there. Some 30%, 40% difference is there from the earlier proposal. You have to convince both agencies, authorities. Then only then, no problem, you can submit the same idea. And the proposal review criteria, they will look at the significance. Does this study address an important problem? How will the scientific knowledge be advanced? What will be the effect of these studies, etc., etc. Then approach, I will show you one sample proposal. Otherwise, you will get bored of reading these kind of things. I will show you one sample proposal. This is a proposal which I submitted earlier when I was working with St. Kitts. So, you will be preparing some biodata initially, including all your personal details, then project summary, and all these summaries I told you that there is some word limit and page limit is there. So project summary will be there depending upon your proposal. Then objectives should be crisp and clear, not too populated. Should be like 2 lines or 3 lines maximum. It should always give some clear and precise objectives, not some broad objectives. So broad objectives are already there in the abstract. Okay. And the keywords also very important. Don't use the keywords already there in your proposal. You can use keywords like the normal keywords. If this particular proposal is based on data security and privacy, but I am using some algorithm on that. So you can use the generic terms like data security, privacy, cryptography, like that, so that people can Google it and find out whether that area is important or not, or significant or not. Keywords. Expected output and outcome of the proposal. Then this way, other technical details, origin of the proposal, like it should be maximum of 1 page. There is a page limit. And you have to provide the review status, like international status and the national status, like the way that we have given in normal research papers, like related works or existing works. And also you can give some active researchers who are doing the similar work in some tier 1 institute. Like here I have given some details like Datta et al., who is a professor working in IIT Kharagpur, who is having a similar interest. Okay, that will give you how important your research is and how actively researchers are working on your area of interest. Okay, this kind of thing will give an impression to the reviewers. So Datta et al. Again working on some other project, but the scheme is the same. Agarwal, again IIT Delhi. Susmita Ruch, who is an active member of Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. She is an active researcher on cloud computing security. Then Subhashini is again a PhD scholar. At that time she was working on the same area in IIT Madras. And again, I have included some more things on that, but like you can always look into some Microsoft research website or Infosys research website, etc., Amazon research, etc. Their active researcher will be there who is working on these kind of areas. So try to include those details too. Okay, some industry perspective, some academic tier 1 institution perspective. An importance of proposed project in the context of current status. So why you are going to work on this project, why you are spending your precious time on doing this project, is it beneficial to society, is they have any takeaways for the government, etc., etc. They have to clearly underline or highlight those kind of things. So this particular proposal is for personal health record protection, like electronic medical record protection. This is for Kerala, what you call e-health initiative, or the what you call the Modi's Digital Health India initiative for that. And work plan, try to include maximum number of diagrams, the flow charts, the system model, the components, and each and every component system model, what that component can contribute to your project. Clearly state that. Don't rush into the conclusion part. Clearly state each and every aspect of your proposal, because you are the accountable person for doing that, executing that. So do not copy paste any kind of thing from journals and all, because this is not a research paper. This is your idea. So you have to draw your own diagrams. It need not be like a very good multimedia diagrams and all. You can just go to Word and build some this kind of normal kind of figures. Okay. Then comes the time schedule for this is for 36 months. So for 0th month we will be receiving a grant, then setting up your setup, your experimental setup for other 6 months. Then at the same time you will be recruiting some staff. Can you able to see? Staff recruitment again for 3 months. Then construction of some algorithms which will last for some 6 or 7 months. And what you call concurrently you can obtain some objectives 1 and 2 or 3. Sometimes some experiment give you results for 2 experiments, so 2 objectives. Okay, and after that you could have validate your project and debugging and report. So it will last for again for 36 months. You have to segregate your work into that duration. So for 30. Expertise you have to showcase why you are saying that you are the active researcher on that area and you can build that project, etc. Provide some evidence, expertise, how many publications, how many of them are SCI indexed, those kind of things. And responsibilities, here there is no co-investigator, and key publications on that area. Then again the bibliographic part, do not avoid this part. Always include the latest year papers. If you're submitting now, include 2019 January papers too, so that they can understand that you're up to date. Then the normal things, whether the institution has enough infrastructure facility to execute the project. And also I think that you have a good chance for getting enough fund, because already you got 2 different funds from DST. And NRDMS is not easy to get, because I know whether some of my friends who are working in NITs already approached for these kind of agencies, but they failed to convince NRDMS, NRDMS, right? In DST, but EC, okay. So, and name and address of experts, institution, because they are asking for reviewers. Like you can give some Amrita research labs who are pioneer in this field, IIT Gorakhpur, and the similar project was executed by Harvard University. The outcome was the Code Blue WSN network, Stanford University, the outcome, etc. And the other thing is the budget details. Give the actual realistic budget for the realistic model, separate budget for manpower, for recruiting manpower, excluding the implementation part. They will be giving budget for the staff member too, manpower budget, consumables and travel, equipment, contingencies, other costs, overhead for the institution, a total. So totally 17 lakh, including the manpower budget 10 lakhs. And you have to provide the exact justification for each and every head. So here the manpower budget, I cannot put simply 10,000 to 10 lakh to 9,600. There should be some announcement from DST on this date. You have to provide that thing in the justification part. So one person is required with this degree, proposed project, and position is JRF with a pay of this, and the DST order is there. For that, manpower is 25,000 per month for the first and second year, excluding HRA. So you have to provide the actual justification. And for consumables too, you have to provide why you need this much consumables and what is the association of your consumables with your project. The travel, like a few tricks are envisaged for discussing with experts of that area, attending some conferences, workshop, etc. These kind of things that you can write for student project too. Sometimes we don't know how to give justification for each and everything in normal KSCST student project scheme. So you can include this kind of things, like for visiting some labs for what you call testing or validation. You have to visit this lab. There is the facilities available only there. So that kind of justification can be given. That's it. and what is the proposed major national initiatives on the area like Digital India, and thematic area is cyber physical systems and IoT and cyber security. That's my area of interest. I work on a secure Internet of Things, cyber security, cryptographic area. So it matches with the cyber physical CPS. So always look at, I will show you some websites and how to see the announcements. So you can look at this one, like every day some new events are coming up. Enhancement of research fellowship, every day some new events will be coming up. So you can try at least this one. Most of the proposal will be rejected, but the experience is always valid. Okay? And it is not mandatory that for DST and all you need NBA or you need that kind of thing, etc., etc. No need. For AICT only, they'll be asking for submitting some accused proposals. If you have an NBA kind of thing, it's the extra point is there. That's it. For DST and all, they won't look at where you're working and all. They only look at the quality of the proposal. What are you now? That's it. Where you are working is secondary. What you are doing is the primary thing. Whether you're active researcher or the normal, the so-called researcher. That's why I told you to build a Google profile website, web page. So every year you have some good number of publications. You can see 2018 I have this much. Citation count is going up. Every day you just refresh the Google page. Like in Naukri, in the earlier days, if the company people want to search your resume, normally we do that. We download the resume first, make some changes on that, then they upload it. So that our resume will come in the priority list. In that way, try to refresh the Google page every day. I'm sure that you will get a number of citations can be increased throughout the year. Because whenever sometimes some people will look at the Google Scholar page, your paper will be popping up. So the refreshing also creates some impact. Okay, this is not a job. Seriously, I have got some 36 to 37 citations the last 6 months. Just refreshing up. I don't have any publication for last 6 months. Just refreshing. But it creates a lot of impact. I think how many of you have this happens. And there is something called a special call, and it's somewhat easy for you to get it funded because it's not a common call. Special call for some thematic areas. And the other agency is there. It is known as SCRB, which is again the subsidiary agency of DST. SCRBonline.in, where you can submit your proposals. Science, Engineering and Research Board. Okay, here, this is the one. February 1 is the last date. Tomorrow. Impacting research innovation. And you can always look at the past selected proposals. Imprint 1. About 2,000 some proposals were selected out of 50,000. And also you can look at the MHRD website, mhrd.gov.in. Scholarship details, PhD scholarships, etc. will be available in that website. Okay, funding opportunities will be there. Here, this one, like collaborative program, some HRA program, high risk, high reward. And for international travel support, if you are presenting some paper abroad, try to submit your paper at least 2 months prior to the conference and get some fund from it. Because you can avail fund up to 35 years of age, maximum. Registration fees will be covered. Registration fees plus airport travel, tax, accommodation you can ask fund from agency which is available in Chennai. I don't remember that exact name of that. If the DST support is there for fooding and lodging, you can ask fund from the agency in Chennai. You can just Google it. Who is the agency which give you the if you have DST fund, which is the agency, Quora will give you an answer. Okay, I don't remember the exact name of that. Then Distinguished Investigator Award, that most of us are not eligible. These are the call and proposal. You can just click on closed first, no details. Ongoing, high risk, high reward is there, industry level R&D. I think you have a Siemens lab over here. Try to contact any representative on Siemens and get some support from them, and jointly you can submit some proposal to these kind of agencies. Siemens and all, no? The well-accredited agencies. So JC Bose, I'm not seeing it from here. Seminar and symposia, so many grants are there. So you can just note down the website name, like say serbonline.in, dst.gov.in. Then you can go to CSIR website. And also one more thing, Niranjan sir asked me to give an insight to the conference management system too, for civil. So these are the reviews of uncompetitive proposals. This proposal is a simple extension of the PhD's PI PhD dissertation. The PI has failed to refer to important studies published in the past 2 to 3 years. Much important information on experimental procedures and equipment for measurement is omitted. I can't really tell what is going to be done and how. These are the normal comments from these things are collected from my colleagues and all who is working in Andhra Pradesh, because we Malayalis are sometimes lagging in these kind of activities, but Andhra people and Tamilians every day are submitting new and new proposals. So many more friends are there working in those kind of institute, so they will be giving us, these are the comments that they got from these kind of agencies. Okay, the PI seem to feel only one outcome of the studies is possible and fail to consider others. If that were true, the studies would be unnecessary. The work can certainly be carried out, but it does not address any topic of broad current interest. Almost all the similar kind of thing, but they have gambled some words here and there. The same idea. These are the India-centric research funds, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, Aeronautics Research and Development Board, Research in Nuclear Sciences, CSIR, DBT, and one more agency is there, this thing. You can always look at this particular agency for electronics and communication or computer science background people, the Department of Electronics and Information Technology. They will accept proposals in a hard format, not the soft format. You have to submit some 15 different copies of proposal to these kind of agencies, but immediately they will give you some reply. At least 6 months you have to wait. But in DST and all, it will the review will last for some for my proposal it lasts for about 1 year 3 months or 1 year 4 months. But they will notice you about the progress, where your stage is, what are the comments of the reviewers, etc. So I prefer, because I don't have any exposure on other agencies, I normally submit my proposals to the CSIR, then Department of Science and Technology, and also other research funds are also there. Like you can jointly, now that UK-India education research is currently going on, you can submit your proposals. It's not closed, it's open now. UK-India Education Research Initiative. So try to contact some researchers working on that area, UK area. Just Google it, go to their homepage, try to convey your interest, make some good covering format of letters, some requests, etc. and try to use that similar kind of thing to several researchers. So immediately they will give you some reply. So UK-India Education and Research, Global Innovation, and the Dutch Agency Research, etc. And you can look at these kind of websites too, like Microsoft Research website. They have a number of projects. They will also fund you if due to have a common interest. They are only into mobile computing, cloud computing, sky computing, security, privacy, machine learning kind of thing. So if you have that kind of a proposal with you or you are working on it, you can just contact Microsoft Research. Also, if you are an active IEEE member, IEEE also fund you. This is only my personal view. I actually am working on it for several years. I have got only 1 or 2 funds from it. I have fund from DST and one from CERD KTU, and 2 or 3 funds from KSCST.
Any idea how much time it takes for CERB online?
CERB online for evaluation? evaluation, it will take about 1.5 years. It's because you will be submitting, because most of the schemes are time limited. It will be opening in certain months. Okay, but then you have to look into that fact thing, because for each and every scheme the rule is different. Okay, so normally all proposals will take, all agencies have similar criteria for evaluation. Normally it will take about 1 year to 1.5 years. But there is a huge chance for this institute, because already two of the departments have already availed some funds. So they will look at whether that Muthoot Institute of Technology is already available in our database before. So that will give you an extra point. For our institute and all, we are yet to start. We are submitted, and one of the proposals is in the 4th stage, but I don't know whether ultimately whether it will get passed or failed. We don't know. So one thing I understand from my personal point of view is, in order to build some collaboration, in order to build some in order to contact some researchers of common interest, try to use LinkedIn maximum. There is a website, there is a section known as jobs is there. You can just search, given some keywords in the search bar like researcher, IoT, or researcher, cryptography, researcher in some area, postdoctoral researcher, etc., etc. Try to contact, try to give a message to him, try to contact over email. ഫോളോ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നാലേ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുള്ളൂ. ഒറ്റയടിക്കൊന്നും റിപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യില്ല. വി ഹാവ് ടു ഫോളോ ദം. ആദ്യം റിപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യില്ല, കാരണം നമ്മളൊന്നും അത്ര ഫേമസ് ആയ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ടിലല്ല അവർ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ നമ്മളത് നമ്മുടെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റും നമ്മുടെ എങ്ങനെ നമ്മുടെ പ്രൊജക്റ്റ് ഷോക്കേസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആശ്രയിച്ചിരിക്കുകയും ഒക്കെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ. അപ്പോൾ അതൊക്കെ നല്ലതാണ്. ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ ഈ കാലത്ത് റിസർച്ച് ആൻഡ് അക്കാഡമിക്സ് വിൽ നോട്ട് ഗോ ഇൻ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഡയറക്ഷൻസ്. ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് ടു ഗോ ടുഗദർ. നമ്മൾ ആ ഫാക്റ്റ് മനസ്സിലാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞു ഇപ്പോൾ. കാരണം പിള്ളേരില്ലാതെ തുടങ്ങി. ഇപ്പോൾ എംടെക്കിന് പിള്ളേരില്ലാത്ത കാരണം തന്നെ എന്താണ്? അമൃതയ്ക്ക് എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് പിള്ളേർ പോകുന്നത്? ഫണ്ടുണ്ട്, അവർക്ക് JRF ആവാം, SRF ആവാൻ പറ്റും, ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ ശുഷ്കിക്കാനുള്ള കാരണം തന്നെ, പ്രധാന കാരണം നമ്മൾ തന്നെയാണ്. നമ്മളാരും അങ്ങനത്തെ കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകുന്നില്ല. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഫണ്ട് വന്നാൽ മതി. അപ്പം പീപ്പിൾ വിൽ ആസ്ക്, പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അറിയാം ഇന്ന ആളുടെ പ്രൊജക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്, അങ്ങോട്ട് പോവാം. അങ്ങനെയാണ് സാധാരണ നല്ല ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ടുകളിലൊക്കെ വർക്ക് നടക്കുന്നത്. ഈവൻ സാധാരണ നോർമൽ തമിഴ്നാട്ടിലൊക്കെ എനിക്കറിയാം, ഈ നമ്മുടെ സസൂരി കോളേജ്, അതുപോലെ സാധാരണ തല്ലിപ്പൊളി പറയുന്ന കോളേജുകളുണ്ട്, അവിടെ പോലും ഫണ്ടുണ്ട്. അവരെന്താ വെച്ചാൽ ഇതൊരു ആക്ച്വലി the institution has made it a mandatory thing for every faculty member. ഇത് ചെയ്തിരിക്കണമെന്നാക്കി. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ആക്കിയ സമയത്ത് അത് ഒരു പരിധിവരെ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. പക്ഷേ ആ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. കാരണം ഇല്ലാതെ നമുക്ക് പറ്റില്ല, മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാനും പറ്റില്ല ഇതിലിരുന്നുകൊണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉള്ള ആൾക്കാർ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുക, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഫോർ ദ എക്സിസ്റ്റൻസ്, ഫോർ ദ ഗ്രോത്ത് ഓഫ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ, ഫോർ ദ ഗ്രോത്ത് ഓഫ് അവർ സെൽസ്. ദാറ്റ്സ് ഇറ്റ്. പറയാൻ ഇതിപ്പം ഒരു മണിക്കൂർ കൊണ്ട് വളരെ പറയാൻ എളുപ്പമാണ്. പക്ഷേ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ടേക്ക് എ ലോങ് ടൈം ടു ഡീൽ ഇറ്റ് വിത്ത്. ബട്ട് ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാത്തതിനേക്കാൾ നല്ലതാണ് എന്തെങ്കിലും സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. സോ ജോയിൻലി വി കുഡ് പ്രിപ്പയർ സം പ്രപ്പോസൽസ് ടു. അങ്ങനെയും ചെയ്യാം. സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് ആണെന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല, നമുക്കും ജോയിൻലി എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നതാണ്. ആദ്യം ഈ പറയുന്ന ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉള്ള ആൾക്കാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യട്ടെ. സ്ലോലി വി കുഡ് ബ്രിങ് മോർ പീപ്പിൾ ഇൻ ടു ഇറ്റ്, മേക്ക് സം റിസർച്ച് ഗ്രൂപ്പ്. ഇപ്പം സെയിൻറ്റ് കിറ്റ്സിലൊക്കെ നല്ലൊരു ആക്റ്റീവ് റിസർച്ച് ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. റിസർച്ച് ഗ്രൂപ്പ്സ്, VLSI, റിസർച്ച് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഗ്രൂപ്പ്സ് ഇൻ കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ എക്സെട്ര. ദേ ആർ ഡൂയിങ് ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് തിങ്സ് ദെയർ. ദർ ഇസ് ഇന്നോവേഷൻ സെൻറ്റർ ഫോർ ദ നെയിം സേക്ക് അല്ല, ദേ ആർ ഡൂയിങ് ആക്ച്വൽ തിങ്സ് ഓവർ ദെയർ. അങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അവർ പ്രൊമോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് അത്. പക്ഷേ അത് ഫാക്കൽറ്റി ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. വി ഓൾ ഹാവ് സം എക്സ്ക്യൂസസ്. ഇപ്പോൾ എനിക്കാണെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ട് എക്സ്ക്യൂസസ് ഒരുപാടുണ്ട്. വീട്ടിൽ ചെറിയ മോളുണ്ട്, അങ്ങനെ ഒരു എക്സ്ക്യൂസസ് പലതും ഉണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ പ്രൊഫഷണൽ ലൈഫ് ഈസ് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ആൻഡ് ഫാമിലി ലൈഫ് ഈസ് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ്. spend some time, at least ഒരു പേപ്പർ ഒരു വർഷം ഉണ്ടാക്കി. ഇപ്പോൾ ലാസ്റ്റ് 1 year before there was a presentation by one of the DST reviewer at Rajagiri. He told like we have some 40,000 institutes in India. 40,000 engineering institutes ഉണ്ട്. At least one faculty member, one single paper per year, 40,000 papers. It's more than enough. ഒരു പേപ്പർ അത് പക്ഷേ XYZ കൊടുക്കരുത്. ഈ IJRET, IJERT, IJT, ഗാംബ്ലിംഗ് വിത്ത് ടെക്നോളജി ആൻഡ് എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും മാറ്റി എഴുതി കൊടുക്കാതെ Some procedure engineering start with some procedure conferences, slowly move to some inter science journals, Taylor and Francis, Springer, elsewhere, then IEEE transactions. Transactions is the last one. But അങ്ങനെ പോയാലും നടക്കുള്ളൂ. ഇപ്പം നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ ഇരുന്നുകൊണ്ട് ഇത് വെറുതെ ഒരു ബൊമ്പാർഡ്മെൻ്റ് അല്ല, ചുമ്മാ വാക്കുകളെ കൊണ്ട് കളിയാടുകയല്ല, പക്ഷേ ഇതൊക്കെയാണല്ലോ ആക്ച്വൽ ഫാക്ട്സ്. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു.